Good evening, girls. It's Monday. I'm going to see how fast I can talk today.
Monday.
Today's video comes in two very quick parts, so buckle up. Part 1, Heather's question. Heather asked me who my favorite fictional character was without giving me any sort of parameter. This makes things very complicated. Only because this next part is so loaded, I'm going to completely butcher this question and give a really short answer. So right now, my favorite fictional character is Tyrion from Game of Thrones, because what do we say to the god of death? Not today! Part 2, my first attempt at a Thoughts from Places video. I apologize in advance. This is what I did on my weekend. College visits.
My parents and I went to look at UC Berkeley, and in order to get there as soon as possible, I had to wake up before the sun was up, which is something to which I am fundamentally opposed, especially on the weekend. We got in the car, and we drove, and we drove, and drove, and drove for a very long time. At one point, we passed a garden that had a bunch of statues in it, and one of them was a tiny Statue of Liberty, and I spent the rest of the drive trying not to blink. Anyway, we finally got there in the early afternoon. My mom's cousin drove us around the campus, where we found a game of Muggle Quidditch going on in the park.
You just caught the snitch.
Then we met up with another cousin who's a student there. She walked us around all the buildings, talked about the dorms and the classes and the culture, and we stumbled upon a couple of very nerdy references along the way.
You're a Sherlock person too? Maybe.
After which she assured me, you'll fit right in. That night we had dinner with her and another enrolled student we knew at this place that immediately made me think of Laura. I got a chance to ask them what it's like living in Berkeley, where all the good food was, what football games were like, how crazy some of the people actually were, all that stuff. After dinner we tried to go to this ice cream place, but it was really crowded, and then our GPS started giving us really ambiguous directions, so we ended up driving around Oakland for like half an hour longer than we needed to. I'd visited other college campuses before, but for some reason it just hadn't clicked as much as it did here. Maybe it helped that I had 3 different unofficial tour guides who were all familiar with the place. But there was a sort of peace I felt when we were wandering around Berkeley, both during the day and at night. I really don't know why I felt so comfortable in Berkeley. I mean, if you get a little too far off campus, you start running into the stoners and the hobos and the sketchy street vendors. You smell marijuana smoke almost all the time. The drivers here are really crazy, and there were hipsters everywhere. Why would I still want to live in a place where I'm half afraid of most of the people? I think it's because I find everything so busy, so interesting. It has a sense of adventure. There are times when I forget that while college is a place to educate you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're there only to study. The Berkeley environment reminded me that there's a lot of really cool stuff to see if you just look up from your textbook and take a little while to appreciate it. Also, I found out that if I were to walk 500 miles and then walk 500 more, that's basically me walking to San Francisco and back. And I'd have to levy a whole freaking lot if I were to do that for you. Shannon, I'll see you talking about Disney World tomorrow.
Bye-bye, fog. See you later.
What?
That's what it says under the bridge.
Tell the egrets wait for me. Give
What's
my
that word?
love to Shoreline Breezes. So
So long, Ocean View. We'll be back. Aw.